Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the court of the Edijester. How are we doing, folks? Right, interesting one for you today involving the WRN, the Women's Rights Network, who I am very pleased to say I shall be speaking to for some time on Friday. Is that tomorrow already? It may well be. On Friday at their national meeting, which I'm very proud to do so. Many of the members of the WRN are warrior teachers, so I'm really looking forward to being able to talk to all of them about the genesis of the program and the women that I met. So I'm very excited about that. So before we start, please do come and become a warrior teacher. We're starting in April. I really need to get people on. At the moment, it's going really slowly. The truth of the matter is, folks, if you still want me in the game, I'm going to need your help. It's that simple. Either that, buy me a coffee, Substack, the usual. But today, I want to look specifically at something that the WRN have posted on the Twitters. Before we do, I wish to visit Tribunal Tweets. Now, for those of you that do not know, Tribunal Tweets has been operating for a number of years now, and this is a group of stalwart volunteers who go to court cases, employment tribunals, whatever it may be, and then report from within the court. It's not verbatim. I mean, you'd have to be a stenographer. It's not verbatim. What you get is a sort of ongoing unraveling of the court case while it's happening, which makes what they do very fascinating indeed. They're recognized by the courts as an important aspect of what we could call citizen journalism. They were involved in this particular case, but before I get to that case and what the Women's Rights Network have said, just take a look at this brief exchange between two people, one of them being Naomi Cunningham and another one called BBF, who is actually a very senior personage in the police force. If you want to know who, go and have a look on Tribunal Tweets. So police work is important, says Naomi. If you're not familiar with Naomi Cunningham, you need to go and have a look because she's startlingly good. She's marvellous. She's calm, measured, wonderfully serene, but is actually a pitbull. It's brilliant, a brilliant lawyer. So let's start the game by looking. Police work is important, says Naomi. Yes, says BBF. Life and death. List serious crimes. That list goes on, yes? So Naomi then said murder, assault. Yes, said BBF. Asks a lot of sometimes of young recruits, says Naomi. Yes, says BBF. Risk assessment is critical. Use national model. Yes, says BBF. Risk assessment is often done at a desk, judging risks and how to reduce. Yes. A lot of the time it's urgent and on the spot. Yes, often dynamic risk assessment. Roles involve both sorts of risk assessments, dynamic or based on risk probability. So something that's happening there and then, or looking at probability of risk. Okay, yes, says BBF. And Naomi Cunningham says, might I get punched? Could I make things worse? That sort of thing. Yes. So they're looking at risk assessment here, right? And when looking at stats, men are more likely to commit crime. Yes, depends on type, though. Yes, one of few crimes where women go ahead of men is non-payment of TV license, says Naomi Cunningham. I don't know that, says the police person. Men are more likely to be involved in violent crime, over 90%. No, don't know recent stats. Not surprising, though, says Naomi. No. Do you agree over 90% of sexual violence? I would have to look at figures. This is a senior police officer. Senior police officer. Are you saying that you don't accept it to the tribunal? No, says BBF. I just don't know the numbers. Naomi then responds with, you can't sensibly assess risk for crime without knowing sex. And the police force representative, the person being grilled, says, I don't understand. If you're on a street, says Naomi, in an altercation, the single thing that tells you most about whether you're going to be punched or knifed is whether they're male or female. To which the police individual responds, no, not the case. There was a bit that was hard to hear, coming from our reporter. You could quibble over knifing or whether they have a knife, punching more likely if a man. No, I disagree. I disagree. You say it is as likely you'll be punched by a woman, and then this police representative says, I've been hit by more women than men. Where's she hanging out? Where is she hanging out to get hit by more women than men? Naomi then responds, for any crime where men are grossly overrepresented, knowing sex is important for risk assessment. BBF responds, I'm not sure what you are asking. Naomi says, I'll come at it another way. If dealing with an angry suspect, you know they are going home to a child, are you more worried if they are male or female? BFF responds, it's too simplistic. Depends on the suspect, needs and referrals, assessment by social services. Naomi Cunningham respond, let's zoom out more generally. Warrior teachers will show us so understand why she says that. Let's zoom out more generally. If a protest is planned, would you allocate more officers if it would be mostly middle-aged women or young men? The police representative, PBF, responds, if it's a local event, it will be assessed by a local team. For large-scale events, it's not routine in my role. Naomi says, let's say it's a gathering. Women's institutes say, angry they have let men who say they are women into the WI, outside HQ with banners, etc. And suppose there's another lawful protest by young men, assuming they are protesting disproportionate use of stop and search against black men. On common sense, do you agree with light policing for the WI or more for men? Again, says BBF, I would go through the system to provide design on resources. Naomi Cunningham, you aren't prepared to agree that the WI protest doesn't sound like it's high risk of violence disorder. BBF then says, I'd look at the relevant intelligence. Can't make assessment. Wrong to make an assumption. Wrong to assume that a bunch of women from the WI are likely to be less of a problem violently than a bunch of men, young men. What? Yes, it is what you think it is. It is what you think it is. But please don't. I don't want it to be. And it is what I think it is. Right? It is. It's absolutely extraordinary. Right? So let's turn to what we've got going on with the Women's Rights Network, who posted, misogyny in the Met. WRN have followed the ongoing Newman versus Metropolitan Police Tribunal with interest. In particular, we noted the apparent lack of willingness of the UK's largest police force to engage meaningfully and honestly with those who understand the material reality of sex. We heard yesterday at the tribunal that a senior officer in the Met couldn't confirm that being male is a risk factor in violent crime. I just can't believe it. This must come as a shock to the Met Commissioner and all those officers who have promoted their male violence strategy, which the Met call Violence Against Women and Girls, or VAWG. Following the publication of the Casey Review, which reported significant misogyny in the force, Women's Rights Network reached out to the Met Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, in a sincere attempt to engage and assist. We were granted a meeting with DAC Helen Millichap, and there's Helen. Smiley Helen there. During the meeting, we put forward a proposal that WRN should be invited to sit on the Met's Independent Advisory Group, the IAGs. This would have built bridges between the GC women and the Met, helped to rebuild a woman's damaged trust in the service, provide an opportunity for officers and staff to enhance their knowledge, provide much-needed balance in light of the extreme trans activists on their panels. We were told that should WRN be invited, wait for it, around these tables, other groups' individuals would likely object and be unwilling to continue their engagement. So, in other words, they had an opportunity to get rid of all the trans nutters just by simply inviting the women, and they didn't do it. We can see now that the possibility they might invoke the ire of extremists that have been welcomed through their doors and granted access to influence on officers and staff was a step too far for the Met. This can only be fear, genuine ideological capture, or both. The failings of the Met have been laid bare by Melanie Newman's action. Will they learn? No. Or continue putting their hands over their ears, which is exactly what they'll continue to do. Well, leave here some of the findings of Baroness Casey to assist with their reflections. This is from the report, the Casey report. Some examples there. You can see there's pictures there. You can go and have a look. Right, I put the tweet to the tribunal tweets, the actual tribunal record from tribunal tweets. I've also got the tweet from Women's Rights Network, which you'll find on X. Twitter, X, I get confused. Go and have a look. This is beyond the pale. But what it is, and this is what you've got to understand, what it is equity. That's what it is. It's well, everything's equity. Everything's flat. See, you have to use the process to decide whether men are more violent than women, because you can't assume. It's not an assumption. It's a known fact. These people are deranged, okay, and they're being deranged by equity. Equity makes you deranged. Equity deranges societies. Equity produces liars. Equity produces falsehood. Equity builds a world in which nothing is real. And finally, when it all comes down to it, and we've done fanning about, equity kills every single time. Go look, all right? And on that uplifting note, I'll say ta-da! Got to go and teach warrior teachers. See you later. Bye bye.